Hey, it's Monday. Welcome to another episode of Authentic AF. I'm Dr. Stephanie Ardrey, and with me is.
Rene Deceuninck. Hi,
Hi,
how you doing?
good. How are you today?
Yeah, great, awesome. It's amazing. Besides the weather, but let's not talk about the weather. It's
And
winter
it's
for
close
me.
to the
Yeah.
end of your day in London, yes?
Yes, it is. It is. It is. So right now it's 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. And I don't know what the time is at your where you are.
Yeah, it's morning time. It's 11 a.m.
Oh my goodness! All right.
So you're ending and I'm beginning, but we're here together to talk about being authentic AF, how body language and mindset contribute to how you land in conversations. A few people a couple weeks ago were really excited about the topic. In fact, someone was saying, "Hey, how do I add this into my communications?" And we both went back and I did a little research, so I think
Yeah.
it's a great topic and 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 definitely necessary.
Yeah. I mean, like half an hour ago, I was in the supermarket and somebody asked me, "What do you do for a living?" We had a conversation, and then, "What do you do for a living?" Right? It's a normal question. I said, "Well, I teach body language to businesses." Immediately, oh, what is my body language telling you? People are immediately like, "Oh my God!" But if you are you, that's the best version of body language that you can produce. Just be you, and that's the best, because when you fake it, people say fake it until you make it, but that doesn't work on a subconscious level, that is. So yeah.
It's very interesting that people immediately, when you say that, they become self-conscious about their body language, and oftentimes, do you quickly kind of have an opinion of what their language is saying?
Well, an opinion is in fact is you can read body language like in a split second. You can find so many things in a conversation when you have a direct conversation with somebody, and even if you're listening to a conversation and you can watch people, it's amazing what you can find out by how people are standing, their hands, their arms, their feet, their legs, you know, when people are speaking to me and one foot is pointing away, for example, that means they want to leave the conversation. And I'll pay attention to it. And I'm not going to focus on it, but I'm going to pay attention to it. And that is for me a sign of, okay, let's wrap up the conversation, because people are not focused. But when you are watching somebody and they are telling a story to another person, you can immediately find out if it's true or not, or if they're passionate about something, or if they, which is the topic of today, if they have a power move, if they are like very powerful, or if they're very weak and shy. And it's amazing to see all these once you're in body language, once you study body language and you know how to use it properly. It's like a kid in the candy store. You watch people, you're like, "Oh my God, look at this one. Oh my God, look at this." You don't say it to people, but it is fascinating, very fascinating.
Well, it's so interesting because I'm going to be at a number of public events this week. And I'm going to make a point of seeing what I observe in terms of other people's body language, but also see if I can catch myself being in, I guess the most powerful, what's the best powerful language or position to be if it is that I know that I want to be open and I want to engage. I want to invite people to connect with me. What should I do?
Let's take the example of and especially for the US, the example of Obama and Trump. For example, Obama will speak with open hands
Okay.
and say powerful words and invite you and say, "Hey, listen, I have something to share with you." Where Donald Trump would say, "Hey, listen, I've got something to share with you," which is very dominant and arrogant and very dominating. And
Mm.
that is something to watch out for. You can use a certain language with a certain body language, but if you have open hands, you're saying you're vulnerable, you're inviting people, you have something to share with somebody in a very honest way. But the way you stand, if you say, "I have something emotional to share," you look with your left eye into the left eye of the person, which is connected to the right brain, is the emotional brain.
Mm.
Then you look with your left eye, and the left eye will connect your right brain with their right brain. The outcome of the conversation will be far more higher, although you used open hands. And the
Wow.
subconscious would say, hey, this is an amazing person. I would love to talk to that person because this person understands me. And the only thing you did was connecting the correct brain with the correct brain and with open hands. But if I tell you, listen, I got something very important to tell you, and you see what I'm doing? I'm
Yeah.
exaggerating, but it's like, you know?
I feel like you're pushing me back. Like, I don't feel like you're inviting
Yeah.
me in. I very much feel like you're saying, hey, stand back.
Yeah, people don't think about that. The other day I was watching the somebody from the bank in the UK, and the whole time he was using it. Hey, listen, I've got something very and it was like, whoa, wow. But then on the other hand, some people like to learn it and apply it, and some people they learn it but they don't do nothing with it. For example, a president or a king or a queen or whatever, they are surrounded with coaches who coach them in the right way, how to be out there in public, or when they have to be out there in an event. Or and Obama as well, he was like, he listened, he applies it, and he gained so many people in his elections. Like, people were drawn towards him. Where now we're in a situation, for example, with Trump. There's a lot of people who are pro, who are con. I'm not going to say what I think, but the thing, because I look at it from a body language point of view and not from a different view. Let's put it like this. But he's very dominant, very this, very that, very that, and that is also attracting certain kind of people, right? And
Mhm.
especially in the situation that we are today in society, it's a rough, tough world out there. So maybe they need somebody who is a little bit arrogant and a little bit, but that is open for a different discussion. Let's put it like this. But it is a fact that it will have an influence how you handle your hands, how you look at somebody, left, left, right, right. It has an influence for sure.
So then what do you think about how is Kamala Harris's body language? Do you notice any distinctions about her body language?
I didn't really watch her.
Okay.
Um, yeah, because politics and religion is for me like, all right.
I'm just curious because since it
Yeah.
is a big, heavy political cycle, so many people are out doing their campaigns. And it's interesting. I was having a conversation with someone about another person and was just saying, what was the initial observation of the particular person? And they were saying, well, it wasn't so much that we thought the person was a bad person, but what we noticed is that they would never give eye contact.
That's
And
another one.
they came across as very slick, very sneaky, very,
Yeah,
lacking trustworthiness. Is
true.
that something that you see as well? You observe if someone is unable to connect with you or give you any type of eye to eye contact in a conversation?
It can go all kinds of ways. I mean, you say maybe they're not trustworthy, maybe they are like a little bit snaky. That's one part. The second part is that probably something happened in their life and they're not really want to talk to you about it. So something severe, somebody died, somebody find out they had cancer, or somebody, in the family or whatever. And then the third way of looking at it, somebody can be very shy.
Mhm,
And if somebody is very shy, they will have a hard time looking into your eyes. So
mhm,
it's, you'll have to put it in the context. In context, what I always suggest to do for people is ask questions.
mhm.
I always come back to the same: ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. If you ask questions, people have to come up with a story. You can shut your mouth, listen, and you got material to work with, if that makes sense. And how do you ask questions? You ask open questions, obviously, like a what, where, when, who, which, how, and etc. etc. When you start a question with a which, what, why, what, where, when, people can't say yes or no. They have to come with a story. And then it's up to you to zip it and listen. And during the time you're listening, you can prepare your next question based on the answers you get. You can define a lie versus a truth while they are speaking. You can do so many things during that time. And
It's so
that's so,
interesting. It's so
Mhm.
interesting as you say that because it makes me think of I don't know, have you ever read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People?
Yeah.
And so when I think about, this idea of active listening, and making sure that you're really present and listening. But I mean, in your experience, Renee, are you see to me, I think that more people are so distracted by technology and all kinds of devices that even, adults seem to be suffering from attention deficit disorder. Like it's like their brains are just
Mm.
unable to focus. Do you find those impacts and then that also shifting not only body language, but the ability to be present, to actively listen in a conversation?
I think the technology today has a positive side and a negative side. The positive side is that we are advancing in technology, also in the medicine world. There's a lot of advancement through technology in space, in finding out. There's so many positive things attached to it, but there's a lot of negative things attached to it as well. When you look at, for example, adults who are over rich, billionaires, and you see these videos on in Monte Carlo and Monaco when they get out of their Rolls Royces or Bentleys and Bugattis, and the first thing they do is take the phone and watch the phone. I mean, stuff like that. And when you're in the and in the tube, for example, in London, when the underground or the subway, I don't know, is that subway in the US? Yeah, I think it is, right?
Yes, yes, but the
Yeah,
underground,
the
I'm
underground,
familiar
yeah.
in London. Yes, yes.
So when you're in the underground in the tube and you watch people, 99% of the people are on the phone. And
Yeah.
it's devastating to see then the numbers in the medical world of people having all kinds of issues with their spine, with their head, with their fingers, and it's all due to being on the phone. Even those AirPods are so dangerous for your brain because there's no line anymore. So they have to communicate through waves, and those waves go through your head. There's
Mhm.
studies about it. A lot of people say, Rene, that's a bunch of bullet. I said, listen, watch the studies, you'll see this is science, this is not me, this is science. So
Mhm.
all of these things, is technology good? For some, yes. For some reasons, no. It all depends on, I mean, if you're a redneck somewhere in the bushes of whatever, you're going to say technology, what's that, but if you are in technology and you use it in the proper way, I think you can do a lot of things with it. But what makes sense to some people doesn't make sense to other people. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it's all about moderation, and I think that that's
Mm.
just it, is that we've become so gullible often as consumers to the latest gadget and device, and I know, on the tech side, there's always the latest gadget and, device, and again, no one really considers the fact that these devices can also harm you, and that there also should be moderation, that you need to be aware of the potential harm. And nobody thinks about it until 5 years, 10 years later, when you start to see certain trends. And then suddenly there's an awareness of, okay, what is the cause of that particular trend? What seems to be the contributors to this particular outcome? And then it's suddenly like, oh my goodness, we didn't realize that doing X was going to lead to Y. And
Yeah.
maybe if we did it in moderation, or maybe if we didn't even adopt, just because it's a new technology, it doesn't mean that we should necessarily incorporate it into our lifestyles if we don't understand that there could be potential risk. And when I think about that, think about all the kids running around with ear pods in and won't take them off, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's it will harm also your attitude, your way of thinking, your way of moving, your way of everything changes when you are starting to get addicted to something. Addiction to tobacco, addiction to alcohol, addiction to iPhone, oh, not iPhone, but smartphone. Let's not focus on that on one brand, but on
Sure, sure.
smartphone. um, every addiction is finding that balance, right? And that is so important. And why is this also important? Because it's going to change your way of thinking, and your way of thinking will change your body language, because body language is based on how you feel. That's not actually a language. Body language, they call it body language, but it is not a language. It is based on how you feel, and how you feel you will express certain ways of you will express certain things in a certain way. That means that when I read the title you sent to me, The Power of Presence, it is so important to be in power and state when you are somewhere as a leader, that is, or as a person in general. I mean, but if you are addicted to something, and you know, it will lower your state. You'll have your. I mean, I remember Tony Robbins saying, how does somebody feel when they have their shoulders down, they have their head down, right? You actually cutting off the oxygen channel here. Less
Wow.
oxygen goes to the brain, right? Your brain starts thinking differently. Because it starts thinking differently, you produce a feeling. That feeling produces another body language that lowers even more, cuts even more the oxygen. So you're in a down going spiral of negativity, or feeling bad or sad or depressed, or and to get out of that, it's not that easy, right? But when you're in a power, when you have a power move, when you have your a way of being in state, in power, your head is up, your shoulders are back, that canal here is open. You get so much oxygen when you breathe differently. Like, you're like, you're like so, and then you are empowering that positive spiral that goes up. Positive energy, positive reactions, positive attractions. Because when you're in a negative spiral, you push people away from you. When you're in an upgoing positive spiral, you're attracting people towards you. I mean, if you go to the supermarket and you ask for, I don't know what, for the umbrellas, and a person is approaching you, I don't know, I mean, yeah, let's have a look, you know. Or the person comes, how can I help you, sir? I love you. Your smile is amazing. I will show you where the umbrellas are. Who are you attracted to? To the second,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. The much better presentation. Absolutely. You want the happy energy. And you know, it's interesting because I think it's almost contagious. Now, is it true that you can also alter the behavior of someone else by kind of mirroring their behavior and then shifting and getting them to then mirror yours? Or does that really require more of a longer commitment with that person to create that, kind of interest? Can you do it if you approach someone and they're kind of in a crappy mood, but you're not? So,
They did. Yeah, I know what you mean. They did it in a restaurant, and there was one table. There was a guy having a pizza and water, and two tables further away, there was a guy who was going to do the test, and they filmed it. And each time the guy would take the glass of water and drink, he would take the glass of water drink as well. When he was cutting the pizza, the other guy was cutting the pizza, and he did like 5, 6, 7 copy paste of that other guy, two tables away, by the way. And all of a sudden, before that guy changed anything, the second guy took a glass of water and drank it. And automatically the other guy copy pasted it. And then
wow.
they said, let's not stick to one action. So he did 3, 4 actions, and the guy literally copy pasted him. It is
Wow.
an energy on a frequency. And if you are speaking to somebody directly, you can do it even far more faster and more intense.
Hmm.
The only thing I always say to people, watch out if you're copy pasting somebody, do it very subtle, because if they find out, the conversation is ruined. Because if people are going to find out you're copy pasting them, going to like, hey, wait a minute, what's happening here, right? You have to be, if it doesn't work immediately, stop doing it and focus on the conversation,
Mhm.
right? But then try it again the next day, the next day, and the next day, and the more you do it, the better you become. And all of a sudden it will happen, and then you're going to get addicted to it, you're going to that's not true, but I mean, you know what I mean, right? So
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking that I have an opportunity, normally, so I've been on this evolution from realizing that I was a true introvert. Most recently, I've done an updated assessment, and I'm not a hard introvert. I'm literally more centered, but I'm still introverted over extroverted. But and I noticed that my work has always been business, extroverted. So I come up with that personality when I have to go out. But truthfully, oftentimes I really have a little anxiety. Like today, saying, "Okay, I'm going to an open fair. There'll be a lot of people. How will I make contact?" And so I'm telling myself, well, one, I'm also wearing something that kind of will make me stand out because I want to do promotions for the 420 brand. But at the same time, I'm literally psyching myself up in terms of the energy that I need to have, and,
yeah,
want to speak to people and be, in this what tips can you give me? What else can I do to make that an
Oh my
easier?
God, there's so many tips. And I'll stick to the power moves and what we, I mean, because it's the topic, right? And
Yeah.
the power moves are so addictive to, I mean, when people see somebody in power, they want to copy paste because
Okay.
it's attracting, right? If you go to these big seminars with like pretty well-known speakers and they say, hey, get out of your chair, jump, hype, let's dance, put some music on and go, yeah, yeah, and that's how it works. But when you are on a stage as a speaker, what I always suggest is that you have to know that when people look to the left, there's a more negative wave. When they look to the right, there's a more positive wave.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing I always will look at is that where's my screen, the projection going? Is it in the middle or on the right side? If it's in the middle or on the right, I'm okay with it. When it's on the left, well, they will have to move it to the right or the middle.
Okay.
And I had that once, and the technicians were very annoyed with it. But I said, I don't care. It's on the left. It has to be on the right or in the middle. That's the first thing. You have to keep your audience positive. That's a technical thing. The second thing is for you personally. If you're on a stage, you're gonna share some things before it gets started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna share the positive things in life. So you're gonna stand left on stage, which is right for the audience.
Okay.
And you're gonna say, "Hey, people, I had such an I have to share this story. Otherwise, you don't know who is standing right in front of you. So I want to share a very small, tiny story. And I had a happy life. And as a kid, I always happy. I always had lots of blah 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 positive stuff. And then you walk slowly to the right of the stage, left for them, and you say, "But, ladies and gentlemen, it didn't always work out that way for me because." And then you share all the negative things from life.
Mm.
In the first part, people will recognize themselves and say, "Oh, yeah, hey, I had that too. Yeah, oh, wow, that's awesome." And then you share your negative experiences of life as a kid, as a young adult. And you're like, "Oh, wow, she had that too. Wow." So you already have two times that people can um, and identify them with you, and you have them. You're attracting them. And you do it in a very slow way. And then you go to the middle of the room and then you say, "Listen, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?" And they go like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. I want to hear it. Are you ready? Raise your hand, say yes." And they go like, "Whew." And then you ask the technicians at that moment, you say yes to play a certain music, which you choose, obviously, but an energetic music for 4 or 5 seconds. And then music goes down. And you can do the sign like this to the technician, and you say it up front to the technician, "Hey, if I do this, that means music down." And then one more time, how many of you are ready? Say yes. Raise your hand. Say yes. So you confirm them already 3, 4 times. They identify them already 3, 4 times with you. You are in power at that moment. You are in charge. They will listen to you. And that's how I do it. That's what I learned from the big guys. Because I wasn't born with that, right? Nobody is born with it.
Sure, sure. No, you wouldn't understand all the techniques, but now tell me this. I'm going to a street fair
Mhm.
and, how do I make them come to me?
Does it come? Guys come? No, no, I'm kidding.
Just, the energy. I want my people that want to book their wellness weeks in Jamaica, and so I want to draw them out.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
Ask questions. What, why, where, when, who, which. How many of you is an amazing question. If some in many, 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 many years ago, I would ask the room, who among you is, and somebody said to me, a coach, he says, "Rene, you have to change that. Who among you?" He says, "You have to change that. How many of you?"
How
So
many
you
of you?
address everybody. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so this is the first thing. For example, if you have a street fair, and I don't know if it's with a stand or anything, you can say, "Hey, how many of you? And how many of you? And how many of you? Sir, can I
Well,
ask you a
I'll be
question?"
walking I'll be walking down and looking at the businesses and looking at their booths, and so I guess saying hello, asking questions about their businesses. It's LA Tech Week, so
Yeah.
everyone's exhibiting their new technology. Of course, they're looking for investors and customers.
So if you buy or sell, that's an emotional thing. Would you agree?
Yeah.
If you ask for technicalities, it's rational.
Okay.
Okay. So I would ask you technicalities and look with my right eye into your right eye
Ah,
and show the right part of my body, which is rational
okay.
because it's connected to your left brain, your rational brain. And immediately there will be a connection because most of these tech people are tech people.
Got it.
But once you start speaking about selling, you go like
Ah,
left, right brain with the right brain.
switch it up.
But you
Okay.
do it in a very subtle way. And it might not work immediately, but give it a go. Test it, find out. And if it doesn't work, next person, next. But once you start to find out how it works, it's amazing. The results are amazing.
So lead in with my right with my techies and then slowly transition to the left.
Emotional, yeah. Because selling and buying is an emotion, and technicalities, yeah, is rational, right? So rational, right? Rational, RR, Rolls Royce. That's how I remember
Mhm,
it myself as well, and that's
mhm.
how I teach it to people as well. If you remember Rolls Royce, you always remember RR is right, rational. Your right eye is your rational eye. So when you speak to people about technical stuff, right, and then buying and selling, left. And if you are like, this is not working for me, look in the third eye.
Aha.
Because when you look into the third eye, it gives the people the impression you're looking into in their eyes. So you don't have to look away if you're not confident.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one because sometimes there's also, you don't want to feel like you're just staring in someone's eyes.
Mm. Especially for when we go back to the first and from the beginning of the conversation where people are looking away or they might look like a bit sneaky or not
Yeah.
confident or whatever. For those people, especially, look into the third eye. There's nothing wrong with that. On the contrary, you're going to be very at ease. And the people, again, the people you're looking at have the impression you're looking in their eyes. I
Oh,
mean, you
that's
can
very
test it.
interesting.
You can test it if you see somebody later on today, or for people watching and listening to this, say to somebody, hey, listen, I'm going to look into your third eye and tell me, am I looking into your eyes? Just say it up front how it is. They
Okay.
will confirm. They goes that, oh yeah, I got the impression you're looking in my eyes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a great one. That's a great one. So that'll be a good, conversation starter. Maybe I'll be able to get some clips of some folks. That would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, and this is also part of the power move, because a power move is not only the body or the arms or the hands, but it's also how you look at people. When you look at people in a very powerful way, that's also a power move. If I mean, let's be honest, if you go look, I'm very powerful, right?
Yeah.
No, you have to have that, that look in your eyes and your tonality, because 55% of all communication is body language, but 38% is tonality,
Ah, tonality. Very, very important.
which is also a, a part of power, a power move, a power talk. If your tonality is not, I mean, can you imagine we having this conversation here? And we go like, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be an amazing edition again of our. People go, wait a minute, this is not. This is not.
Exactly.
No, and yeah. So yeah, in terms of the power, being in power, a power move, shoulders backwards, head up, open up the oxygen channel, make sure you get enough oxygen go to your brain. And if you feel like I'm not confident with this, do some breathing exercises, like breathing in 4 times, hold it 4 times, breathing out 4 times, or 7 or 8, whatever you want to do. And then push your belly. That's another one. If you push your belly out by pushing the diaphragm, you're using the full capacity of your lungs. Because what happens with people when they breathe in, they do breathing exercises. So you see, I'm exaggerating, but the shoulders go up. That's because they breathe with the top of the lungs. When you push your diaphragm down, you push your belly out, you are using the complete capacity of your lungs. That means you're going to get so much oxygen going to your brain. If you do this 10 times, you're going to be drunk, because it's going too much oxygen to your brain. But that's going to put you in power. You're going to be like, oh. So yeah.
Oh, that's so great because sometimes you do need to create a state change.
Yeah.
And so a nice instant way to create a state change, it seems, is to take a pause and take a few breaths.
Or have a power move before you go on stage. I see certain speakers backstage as well before they go to have a certain power move and they go, yes, yes, yes. They jump on the trampoline, jump on stage, boop, and people say, where do they get all that energy? But that is, I was backstage with so many very well-known speakers, and some of them were very, very active, even in their 60s and 70s. You would say, huh? Yeah, absolutely. And but that's all, yeah, part of the game, part of life, if you ask me. To be in power and not to dominate or not to be arrogant, just to be in power of your own life, to be in power of making the decisions of your own life and move forward and make money and have fun. I mean, there's so many things to experience out there. It's crazy. I mean,
I
and
think that
mhm.
I think that too is where the mindset, because I think that, like I say, when I set the intention of the day, it's setting a particular mindset in terms of what it is I want to lean into and experience. And truthfully, when I'm more deliberate about setting the intention of the day, then I find that the day tends to agree and cooperate.
Yeah. I've got a question for you, though, Dr. Stephanie. Is there a question you have in terms of body language and power moves that I can maybe come up with an answer for you and for the people watching and listening to this?
Absolutely. So I'm thinking about, for example, I'm going on a sales biz development day tomorrow with Sterling, and we're going to be doing cold calling, hopefully in places where solicitors are sort of allowed, right? We don't know exactly all of where we're going to go because we're just going to certain businesses and seeing if we can, make a connection. So in
Mhm.
that, coming in and sort of being a cold call, not sure what to expect, how can we put our best self forward and at least kind of create space potentially for a warm reception?
First of all, is the night before, don't drink alcohol, don't do anything stupid, drink a lot of water, go to bed early,
Okay.
right? The second thing is make sure you are wearing the correct clothing. For
Okay.
example, I was teaching in Oxford University and I showed up every single day in a suit and a tie, every day. And that was given by a very powerful man. He says, Rene, you always dress up for the occasion. So if you teach at the university, you are dressed properly. But being dressed properly gives you also that confidence because you're there in a suit and a tie and go like, yeah, hmm, hmm, you know, gives you a certain energy. And then making sure you're prepared, but don't over prepare. Um, but make sure to be well dressed. Can you imagine do cold calling in your office and you're in your pajamas?
No. Yeah, that's not going to go over. That's not going to go over really well. We'll be wearing the brand, so we'll be promoting Energize X. So we'll be wearing, the branded merchandise, and then
Yeah.
also, I'm sure Sterling will be showing, his features, which people tend to be. What I notice is guys and ladies alike respond to looking at his nicely shaped arms and all of that stuff, but also beautiful personality. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a natural charmer.
Yeah, it's but when you dress properly for the occasion, I mean, if
Yes,
it's like
yes,
about sports
yes,
drinks or whatever, you don't
yeah.
show up in a suit and a tie.
Right, right,
You have to
right.
be dressed properly for the occasion. But it's
Yeah.
very important to leave an impression when people come and see you. You have a chat with them to leave them a certain impression, like, oh my god, that was that's where we have to go. No, don't go there and there and there. That's the person you have to talk to. That's very important. And also eye contact is very important. And ask questions. Ask a million questions. And when people say, I got the impression you're asking a lot of questions, aren't you? You can say, yes, because I'm very interested in you as a person. I mean, you know, give them like that feeling, that significance. Because when people can speak instead of, let's say you're in a conversation and the person doesn't stop speaking. And you go like, oh my God, I wish I found that stop button, right? But when you ask the questions and they do the speaking, you're the moderator because you can
Nice.
change the subject every single minute. And they
Nice.
are so significant because finally somebody listening to me. That's
And
another part.
I think that that's also part of a big gift. You know, a lot of times people have not had an opportunity to be listened to. And so they really appreciate you holding space to just hear them.
Plus, if you ask questions to people, you can create your questions up front, right?
Mhm.
For example, one of the questions when I do upselling from stage, for example, my books or my online trainings or whatever, when I always ask to the people is when is the right time to take a decision right now?
Mhm. Mhm.
And people say,
When it's the right
oh,
time to
right
make a
now,
decision right now. Yes.
right now.
Yes. Right now.
So rhetorical questions with hidden messages in it. And if you prepare yourself and make sure that it benefits the client who buys from you, right? Because if you use it for the wrong way, karma does exist, so it will return towards you. So, but if you have something very important to share or to sell or to, ask a question in a rhetorical way or in a hidden message, like, hey, when is the right time to take a decision right now? Come on, let's sign.
Mhm.
What are you waiting for? What's holding you back? Yeah, nothing. So yeah, congratulations. You stick out your hand, you shake hands. There's no way back. But make sure it's for the good reason, right? That people benefit from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, this time together goes so fast. We're already at the
Oh,
top of
it's
our time for our conversation. So, what we could tell everyone is each Monday we come together to talk about authentic AF, how you can use body language and mindset to make sure that you put in your best self forward out there in the world to accomplish your desires, whether it is that you're looking to increase your business, whether it is to increase community and connections, whether it is that you're even, this works in terms of relationships too, right?
yeah,
Making sure
absolutely.
that you make the right connection with someone that you want to further that connection with.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm not attracted to somebody like, oh my God. No, you're attracted to somebody in power, right? Hey, let's do it. And take action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think next week I'm gonna have to ask you a little bit more. I'm gonna have to do a little deeper dive about connecting with powerful folks because I do like the conversation about that. And then also maybe we can get into some of our case studies, some of the research that we're doing about a few other reference points for folks. So what say you?
I mean, next week we have a topic. I'm now looking for the topic.
Yeah, we were gonna actually look at some case
Mind,
studies.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a mindset reset, cultivating a growth attitude for authentic communication.
that's a
So
great one.
yeah, so a mindset reset, cultivating a growth attitude for authentic communication, and that's a little bit more of your topic, isn't it? You're very
Well, I think that it kind of it weaves in together, yes, but yeah, a few, because I think they work so well together. It's like a hand and a glove, right?
yeah,
You can't give a message, or your mindset is always revealed based on your actions. Your
absolutely,
mindset and your
absolutely.
body language. Your body language could be undermining your what you think your efforts are if you don't get it in check, right? You could actually be contradicting what you believe. So that was why we thought
Yeah.
this would be such a great topic and opportunity to share.
All right, awesome, awesome. I hope people who are listening or watching us they learned something today. I look forward to see all of you next week, Monday, same time, which is 11 Los Angeles time.
11 a.m. Pacific daylight time. So far, our time is going to change soon, but it hasn't yet.
Yeah, and then on 7 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. European time. I look forward to see all of you guys back and yeah, enjoy our chat. It's if you listen to us, that's amazing. If you take notes, that's even more amazing. But if you apply it, that's priceless. And that's the only thing I can say. Review the recording on YouTube, on Dr. Ardrey's YouTube, on my YouTube. It's everywhere. And watch it again, and then take notes and try to apply it. Because once you start applying these golden nuggets, which, as we call them, you'll see life will never be the same again. It's not just a funny song from Hathaway, but it's just a fact. So yeah, thank you so much for being here as well, because you're on the road in a couple of minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour.
Yes. LA Tech Week, here I come. Santa Monica, I'm on my way.
Oh my God. Hope you have some better weather than here in London.
Oh, so far so good. So I'll keep you posted. All right.
Awesome.
Take care, everybody. And we will see you again next week. Same time, same place. Be well.
Awesome. All right.